This is the story of how Walt Disney went from being a high school dropout to becoming a billionaire and building the happiest place on earth. Walt Disney was born in Chicago in 1901 to a poor immigrant family. He was the fourth out of 5 children. When Walt was 4, his family moved to a farm in Missouri. There, he developed an interest in drawing and was paid to draw neighbors' horses. Disney continued to practice his drawing by copying cartoons from magazines. When Walt was 10, his family moved to Kansas City. At school, he met Walter Pfeiffer, who introduced him to vaudeville and motion pictures. Around the same time, Elias, Walt's father, purchased a delivery route for the Kansas City Star and the Kansas City Times. Walt and his brother Roy were enlisted to help deliver papers, so they got up at 4:30 every morning to deliver them. The schedule was exhausting, causing Disney to often sleep in class, so he received poor grades in school. When in high school, Walt took drawing classes and became the cartoonist for the school newspaper. He often drew patriotic pictures of World War I. At the age of 16, Walt decided to drop out of school and enlist in the army to help fight the Germans. However, the army rejected him as he was too young. Instead, Walt lied about his age and joined up with the Red Cross, and in 1918 was sent to France to become an ambulance driver. While in France, Disney drew cartoons on the side of his ambulance for decoration and published some of his works in the army newspaper, Stars and Stripes. A year later, Disney returned home to Kansas City and became an apprentice artist at Pesman Rubin, a commercial art studio. While working at Pesman Rubin, he became good friends with Ube Iwerks. Unfortunately, Disney and Iwerks were laid off. They were chosen because they lacked imagination and had no good ideas. After getting laid off, Disney and Iwerks decided to start their own studio, Iwerks Disney Commercial Artists. Failing to attract customers, Disney and Iwerks were soon out of money. They decided that Disney would temporarily leave and get a job at the Kansas City Film Ad Company. At this company, Disney learned how to create animations. He borrowed a book on animations and a camera and began to experiment at home. Through his experiments, he concluded that cell animation was far more promising than cutout animation. However, when he went to his boss and his boss ignored his suggestion, Disney decided to start another business venture. This time, he and Fred Harmon, a co-worker, produced short cartoons called Laugh-O-Grams. The first 6 Laugh-O-Grams produced were modernized versions of fairy tales. In 1921, the success of Laugh-O-Grams led to the creation of Laugh-O-Gram Studio, where Walt hired more animators, including Iwerks. However, the Laugh-O-Gram cartoons did not provide enough revenue to keep the company afloat. In a desperate attempt, Disney began to create Alice's Wonderland based on Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Unfortunately, the pilot episode was finished too late to save the studio, and Laugh-O-Gram Studio went into bankruptcy in 1923. With $40 in his pocket, Disney decided to move to Hollywood, as his brother Roy was living there. Walt hoped to become a live-action film director, but continued to try to sell Alice's Wonderland. Eventually, a New York film distributor decided to request 6 episodes. Walt and his brother Roy formed Disney Brothers Studios and began to produce Alice's Wonderland episodes. Disney convinced Iwerks to move from Kansas City to LA and join their studio. In 1926, Disney decided to stop producing Alice's Wonderland. Instead, Disney and Iwerks created Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. However, after creating a few episodes, Disney found out that he actually did not own the intellectual property rights to Oswald. Universal Studios did. Disney wanted to be paid more for Oswald than he was for Alice in Wonderland, and Universal wanted to pay him less. Universal gave Disney an ultimatum: either produce the episodes for less, or we'll find someone else who will. Disney decided to decline the ultimatum. This caused him to lose his entire staff except for Iwerks. To replace Oswald, Disney and Iwerks developed Mickey Mouse. Iwerks designed the character, and Disney wrote the script and voice acted. Mickey Mouse first appeared in Steamboat Willie. After Steamboat Willie, Disney signed a contract with a former executive of Universal Pictures. Again, Disney and his brother felt like they were not receiving their rightful share of profits from Universal, so Disney decided to cut costs by hiring low-paid assistants to draw the in-between poses and only have Iwerks draw on the key poses. Disney asked Universal for more money. They refused and signed Iwerks to come work for them and leave Disney Brothers Studios. When Iwerks left, Disney had a nervous breakdown and thought his studio would go under. With the loss of Universal Pictures as distributor, Disney signed with Columbia Pictures to distribute Mickey Mouse cartoons. In 1933, he became dissatisfied with creating the formulaic short cartoons and decided to produce a full-length feature film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Everyone thought that this project would completely fail and bankrupt Disney, as it took nearly 4 years and went 3 times over budget, costing nearly $2 million to create. However, when Snow White premiered in 1937, it got high praises from critics and audiences, and over the next 2 years it brought in over $6.5 million in revenue and won multiple awards. With the success of Snow White, Disney began to produce 2 more feature films, Pinocchio and Fantasia. Neither of these performed well, causing the company to nearly go bankrupt. In an attempt to survive their financial crisis, Disney and his brother took the company public in 1940 and implemented heavy salary cuts. The salary cuts led to a strike and ultimately the loss of several key animators. In 1950, Disney produced Cinderella, his studio's first animated feature in 8 years. Costing $2.2 million to produce, it earned $8 million in the first year. From there, he continued to produce feature films including Treasure Island, The Story of Robin Hood and His Merry Men, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan. However, in the mid-1950s, Disney began to devote less attention to his films and began thinking about other ventures. Disney obtained bank funding and met with his largest shareholders to discuss his vision, Disneyland. Its construction took only 1 year, and in 1955, its opening ceremony was broadcast to over 70 million people. Disneyland became a gigantic success, and in 1964, Disney decided to open another theme park on the opposite coast. Unfortunately, Disney, who had been a heavy smoker since World War I, was diagnosed with lung cancer and eventually died in 1966. In 1971, the Florida theme park was named Walt Disney World by Roy in remembrance of his brother. Since Disney's death, the company has continued to grow substantially. In 2022, the Walt Disney Company has a net worth of approximately $215 billion. They have massive holdings in the entertainment, retail, and merchandising sectors. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments who you want to learn about next. Thanks for watching.